If you're watching this video on an ad, be sure to subscribe to this channel for more, and also go in the description and click on the link to my website for more info. I'm going to read part of my vegan diet. This is introduction into the vegan diet. Welcome to the vegan diet. This is your introduction into what I personally believe to be the perfect diet. This is a diet that I created for myself, with age-reversing intentions in mind. It took me nearly a decade to perfect this diet into what it has become. I was actually going to wait about another decade or so before I ever shared it with you, but the last 2 or 3 years of my life have been really spectacular with this method of viewing food. And I just felt like I should begin the process of sharing my obsession of reversing age with others now. I am turning 42 here in June of 2019. I still feel as if I would be more believable when I'm in my 50s, because my intentions are still to be in my 20s at that time when I'm in my 50s. I just always thought that people would have to acknowledge that I do know what I'm talking about if they see me in my 50s and I'm still growing younger each day, which is what's going to happen. But over the last 3 years, I have really perfected this age-reversing lifestyle, and it shows in my blood work. I have been sharing this with a small number of individuals, but I feel like I really should be letting the public know of these things that I have been obsessing over for about a decade now. Yes, I obsess over reversing my age. It is my passion. It's an obsession, but it's a healthy obsession. This whole vegan diet all started about a decade ago from now. I had watched a documentary called Earthlings that really changed my life. After watching this documentary, I had full intentions of one day becoming completely animal product free. That was my original goal after watching this documentary. I even did go 100% plant-based vegan in 2015 for 1 whole year straight. I learned a lot during this time, which I am thankful for. Had I not done that, I may not be here sharing this vegan diet with you now. To make a very long story short, I began weaning myself off of animal products immediately after watching this documentary. I eliminated dairy, which was easy for me, and also probably the best animal product that I took myself off of in hindsight. I also began to slowly cut out all other animal products, meats, seafoods, chicken, pork. My end game was to one day become plant-based, animal product free, but solely for the ethical reasons. My initial reasoning had nothing to do with the health at this time, but I was also in my early 30s, and about this time I began to have an inner desire to search for the fountain of youth. I wanted to educate myself on age reversal, if such a thing even existed. Is it possible to actually reverse age? Well, I will answer that with confidence. Yes, it is. It just requires a dedication like no other to it. I have since figured out exactly what it takes to reverse age. And I have. I am not really going to go into the age-reversing side of this in this introduction into the vegan diet. But the 4 key elements to reversing age are to perfect diet, lifestyle, mindset, and training. The training or exercise is actually a byproduct of the first 3 key elements. They all must be perfected each day as if it is Groundhog's Day. I have this thing figured out. This is why I need to put this information out there now rather than wait for another decade. People can benefit from this information that I have immediately. And while I still do act like a kid, and I do, and I'm proud of that, and I always will, age-wise, I am in my 40s. I'm going to be 42 here in a month, which should make people acknowledge that I am on to something here. I prove it with my impeccable blood work. And my blood work's, anyone can see my blood work, full panel. If you are interested in learning more about the age reversing, hang on. I'm just basically saying, hey, go to my mailing list, which you should be doing, but I don't have to read that to you. Go and find my mailing list too and sign up for my mailing list. I believe all of them, especially men, well, women too, but men for the testosterone Holy Grail book. I believe all of them serve a purpose, especially when people need to go on specific diets. Okay, hang on. On these two separate quests of finding eternal youth and eliminating animal products from my life for ethical reasons, I began to study and educate myself on many things involving the human body. I tried many diets and types of eating patterns and theories. I believe all of them serve a purpose, especially when people need to go on specific diets for health reasons under a medical practitioner's guide. But for even moderately healthy people, many of the diets out there are unnecessary, and some can even take people the opposite way from the fountain of youth. But I did do a lot of different things with my eating style. I was still consuming animal products until 2015, when I decided to just go cold turkey and do 1 year straight of no animal products at all. Previous to this, I had done my research on what was lacking in a 100% vegan diet. This is the main reason I was still consuming animal products prior to this time. Sometime around 2012, 2013, I actually was doing pretty good with my diet. I was eating something close to a Mediterranean diet. Lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, grains, tubers, and consuming seafood and eggs as my main animal product. I was eating fairly good in comparison to the average person. I still consumed some processed foods though, which is okay for overall good health goals, if not consuming a lot of them. But now I have figured out exactly what an age-reversing diet requires, and processed foods are not in the equation. But the way that I was eating prior to going vegan in 2015 was not bad at all. And there are many similarities to what I have in this vEGGan diet. I look back now and even have seen some of my old videos and books from 2012 to 2015. I'm kind of proud of how I was eating at that time. I was eating very well compared to a typical standard American diet. And many people would still not be able to eat that healthy if they were being forced to. I had the outer pieces of the puzzle in place. I just was missing pieces inside of it. Those pieces took me a few years to really understand how to put them in place. And I kind of owe some of that to going vegan for 1 year straight. I took the plunge even though I knew the deficiencies that a vegan diet could give me. It was okay because supplements make up for that. I was not going to go vegan without supplementing B12. That is pretty much the only thing that I supplemented during this time. But some other things that can be lacking in a vegan diet are complete protein, iron, zinc, omega-3s, cholesterol. I was not too concerned with those other things other than the B12. I was able to find plant-based foods that made me feel that I was getting a sufficient amount of those nutrients. Even the complete protein. I did not supplement with the vegan protein powder or vegan sources of essential amino acids. My vegan diet experience was good. I did eat some processed vegan foods though. I ate a lot of processed vegan foods, which is anti-aging. Processed foods, no matter what, is anti-aging. But my blood work after that year came back very good, and I was still eating very healthy in comparison to the average person. What I learned during this time was that we do not need to consume massive amounts of protein, not even those of us who like to build and keep on muscle. I spent most of my life fixated on protein consumption, as do most males who are into weight training of some kind. Ever since my childhood, I had always thought this way, so I spent years consuming high amounts of protein in my diet. I did all of the different diets that the muscle magazines told us to do. My protein sometimes would even be 2 grams per pound of body weight. All we had were muscle magazines that told us how to eat and train. People around my age. Even prior to going vegan for a year, I was still fixated on my protein numbers in grams. I was still consuming about 1 gram per pound of body weight, thinking that I would shrivel down to nothing if I didn't. In the beginning of my vegan experience, I was most concerned about this one thing. I was actually ready to shrivel down to nothing for the cause of animal rights. Well, I didn't want to, but I did think that I would lose a lot of muscle if I went vegan. I really didn't though. But I'm not gonna lie, I did lose a little bit, and also I did lose a little bit of strength. Not much, but it was noticeable to me. And I'm not saying that you can't eat vegan and gain strength or keep muscle. I'm not saying that at all. Because I believe that you can do that easily. I just didn't know how to do it then. And that was my first time going all in with it. If I did it over again, I would know how to do it. Veganism was not the answer for me long term. I needed to find this out myself by doing it for a year. I am still going to be keeping this. Oh, okay. So after I finished my year of veganism, it was like I had immediately stepped up my level of anti-aging knowledge. I stepped it up big time after that. It was immediate too, as if I had an awakening of some kind. I had already spent years with age-reversing longevity on the front of my mind. I had many of the diet side puzzle pieces put into place already. Going vegan for a year really catapulted me into an age-reversing machine, because I really began to hone not just the age-reversing diet, but also the other key elements. It was during this time that I had begun to see the big picture of things very clearly. And I knew that it was a well-perfected meshing together of all of these key elements that I talk about for reversing age, or at least giving yourself a shot at reversing age. When it comes to reversing your age, the diet is what is most important. It wins by a nose. It's a photo finish. It wins by a nose, though. All 4 of the key elements I mentioned above are important, but the diet is where it all begins from. I wrote books way back in 2012 talking about processed foods are what are to blame for poor health. I knew this for years before this even. So this was nothing new to me, and possibly nothing new to you as well. Many people do know this. But I was not living a 100% unprocessed foods lifestyle at this time, nor was I testing it out when it comes to age reversal. That's okay, I was in my 30s, and still in the beginning stages of figuring all of this out. After that year of going vegan, I was now about 39, and I decided to really go all in on this age-reversing lifestyle, from the diet to the lifestyle to the mindset to the training. I had this thing figured out, and I needed to do my best to try and reach those high standards for each of them each and every single day. I fail every single day, by the way, but the standards remain in the same place. I do not lower them regardless. The standards are high. My focus in life is to be agile, mobile, virile. This is one of my mission statements. And sustained testosterone maximization is my measuring stick that I use to gauge my age. So on the diet side of things, I wanted to define for myself what an actual age-reversing diet really consists of. First and foremost, it consists of 100% unprocessed food consumption. There's number 1. A perfect diet does not contain any man-made calories. I'm not saying that I do not or will not ever eat processed calories. I'm defining this perfect diet and setting the bar as high as possible. All right. I'll leave it at that. And if you want to see, I'll read the rest of this thing. So it will be in a playlist. And this is more than likely an ad. If you see this on an ad, remember, subscribe to this channel. And whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's wherever else an ad can be, subscribe to this channel and click the link in my website to get more information from there. So This is the Vegan Diet Book. Have yourself a great day.